Hi, everyone. We are back with another Risk Insurance Dialogues interview. Today we have Justin Roth here, and he is the Director of Research and Development at SafePoint Insurance. So thank you so much, Justin, for joining me.
Yeah, really appreciate the opportunity.
Of course. And to kick us off, can you just give a brief summary of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Justin. I work for SafePoint Insurance, and I run the R&D department. So essentially, what that means with my background in CAP modeling is any model validation, any model change management, all runs through me. And then any type of tools that we're looking to develop to make our business a little bit more efficient, whether that could be modeling tools, it could be accumulation management, anything like that goes through my department. And basically helps us become a little bit more efficient in the end.
Awesome. And I wanted to ask because you didn't begin your career in insurance in the traditional sense. So can you talk a little bit about what attracted you to this industry and kind of what was a big challenge or obstacle that you faced kind of transitioning into this field?
Yeah, so I have an educational background in meteorology, and I did broadcast meteorology. So I was the local TV guy that you would watch on your news. I did that for about 5 years after my education, and I worked in various markets across the U.S., including Knoxville, Tennessee, Casper, Wyoming, and Lexington, Kentucky. And I currently live in Lexington. That's when I moved out of that industry and moved into insurance. Um, Basically, I had hit a point in my career in broadcast where the way this industry works is you move around every like 2 or 3 years, just how the contracts work. And I kind of found a home in Lexington where I was dating my now wife, and we didn't want to keep moving around. And so I started looking around at different types of jobs, and there was a very specific job called a reinsurance analyst. So I got my start in reinsurance, and that particular company was ENC Re, and they were looking for a meteorologist to help them understand climate change. And it was just the absolute perfect transition for me to get out of the broadcast industry and into insurance. And thankfully, it's all worked out very well.
Yeah, that's great. It's so great to see because there's so many different areas of insurance that I feel like everyone can kind of find a place that they fit regardless of where they come from. So it's great that that worked out for you.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I was really fortunate.
yeah, that's great. And now, kind of looking back from your previous career in meteorology now to insurance and the cat modeling, and now your current role, were there any skills or particular experiences from that previous role that ended up being actually like surprisingly valuable in the cat modeling and risk analysis space?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple skills. Obviously, like analytic skills are very valuable in what I do on a daily basis. But actually, one of those little hidden talent um, skills that I picked up is in broadcast meteorology, you're expected to understand every level of the atmosphere and understand what's going on, right? But when a normal person watches TV, they need it kind of, I hate this word, but dumbed down for them. You need to talk in everyday talk. And that skill has been become so valuable because not only do I still use that in everyday speaking when it comes to meteorology aspects, but also when it comes to cat modeling. These cat models are extremely sophisticated. They can get into some really intricacies that maybe the normal person who's not in it every day understands. And so they need someone to kind of bridge that gap and bring it down to their level so that they're a little bit more aware of what's going on.
Yeah, and I know I've seen some of the cat modeling like models and it is very complex and so it's impressive that, someone like you can break it down and really explain it. That's such a good skill to have. And now I wanted to jump in because I know you have a bunch of designations also, which is like a big hot topic, I feel like, in the insurance industry. So I wanted to kind of ask your opinion on them. How have they kind of contributed to your development? What advice would you give someone looking to pursue them? Kind of your, spark notes of your opinion on designations.
Yeah, so I mean, I got my first designation um, when I was with EMC Re. they sent us up to Boston for one of the cat modeling's kind of certification courses. And that was a good experience overall. It was good networking and everything. I took a little bit of a break after that, maybe about a year, and then I started pursuing certifications through the institutes, which is kind of the industry recognized area where you're going to obtain certifications. Um, for me personally, I found them very valuable. Um, I don't have a business background. I don't have a risk management education or anything like that. And so these people, or even finance, so these people are coming out of college or already had the experience of business knowledge, finance, all that stuff, things that were not part of my educational curriculum. And so for me to obtain those certifications, it was also just me trying to learn the insurance industry as a whole. And so I'm very happy with that I've obtained those. I think to this day they become more and more valuable for me personally, just from a knowledge base. And I still have all the books and all the notes that I'll refer to every so often for certain things.
Yeah, that's great. And I feel like there is so much knowledge to be gained from these different designations. And there's so many different types too. There's not just CPCU. There's, you know, tens of hundreds of other ones that you can get as well. That I think, like to your point, for someone coming in that maybe doesn't have the like industry knowledge as much as maybe someone else that started in this industry, it's a great way to kind of get your feet wet and figure out the different areas and what they do.
Yeah, and I mean I have a few, but I mean there's people who have way more than me, and there's plenty more out there that, no offense, I mean I just won't pursue. I don't work in claims, and so I'm not going to pursue a claims designation, but um, there's certainly plenty of opportunities out there for people to engage and to learn from others in the industry, or different material that's out there that will only serve them moving forward.
Yeah. And now to kind of transition to learning from others, with regards to mentorship, I know we discussed a bit on another call kind of the importance of mentorship and really how that can shape your career. Can you talk a little bit about, did you have mentors, leaders to kind of guide you, and what did you learn from them? How did they help you?
Yeah, I mean, so when I first got my job in reinsurance, obviously my direct manager was kind of like my main mentor. He had kind of built the cat modeling department up from the ground up, and then kind of explained to me how everything worked. I'm green at this time. I don't even know the difference between gross loss and ground up loss type of thing. So like, there's things within that nature of cat modeling that I had no clue about. And so I was able to really connect with him, and I still speak to him to this day. And then when I moved into a role at a PNC, that was a whole nother different language. When I worked at the reinsurance level, it was more high level stuff, but at the PNC level, we're looking at what's the difference between a residential HO3 account down to what is an HO6 account, and I'm over here like HO what, and so getting to understand all the different terminology and things like that. I was really fortunate to have a couple really great mentors, but um, it's valuable if you can find someone who you can trust. I know we get a lot of people in their undergrads who intern with us. I have an intern right now. I had an intern at my previous position, and so uh, being able to explain to them kind of the way the world works in our industry is helpful for them when they're finding jobs. And obviously nowadays it's increasingly a bit more competitive probably than it is in the previous year, and so on and so forth, when finding jobs. So I'm happy to try and help people out as much as I can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that also kind of raises a good point of having meaningful connections with your mentors and not just, a call with someone that you don't really connect with. Like you said, you want someone you can trust and who you can go to for these, big career decisions or, different choices that you're making. So that's a good point. You want someone that you can really trust and bond with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I try to give anyone who I'm speaking with, trying like, what have I learned on my journey and what's the best advice I can give them. And the best advice, honestly, I can give anyone is learn to code, especially in this, and it'll serve you outside of this industry if you, for whatever reason, want to deviate out. But um, I self taught myself Python and how to code with Python, but then I learned. I think anyone who works in the cat modeling space will agree. You'll inherently, if you don't know it, you'll learn SQL because they're all SQL backed programs. But even just if you can just learn one or two different types of coding languages, I think it's going to serve you well, especially in this day of AI kind of emerging. Yes,
Mhm.
there's AI engines that will kind of like write it for you, but if you're just copy pasting and pressing execute or whatever, you're not really understanding what's going on. And so it's
Yeah.
important to actually understand what the code is spitting out and understanding how to write it and how to debug it if you need to as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a great skill to have. I need to look into that for sure. Um, and kind of to round us out here, I wanted to ask, and I try to ask everyone this, is what's a piece of advice that you would give to young professionals or kind of people maybe looking to change careers and come into insurance? I know you had said, when we had talked about this before, it's getting more competitive in this industry. And so, is there anything in particular, maybe something you would tell yourself if you could when you were starting out?
Yeah, I mean, I think essentially you just need to make yourself as marketable as possible. So I mentioned learning how to code is important, but I mean, nowadays when it comes to the interview process, one, it's not just one or two interviews; it's like a multi-step interview process, and usually we're testing people's knowledge within those interviews. It's not more of a get to know you type of thing. It's more of
Mhm.
a do you know what a return period is, or do you know different things in SQL? And so uh, that testing portion, and yeah, it's great if you can get past the testing portion, but you also need to be able to perform at the job as well. So just being able to make yourself as marketable as possible when it comes to things like that, and understanding that just because you're doing a job over here at this company, it's not necessarily going to translate to another company, and you have to be prepared for that and be able to be okay with it as well. But I also tell people who have my personal background in meteorology is enter our industry. Um, companies want you with a meteorology background. It's quite valuable, especially in the natural catastrophe space. Um, Insurance companies want to understand the meteorology and the physics behind some of these perils that are actually affecting them at the bottom line, why they're losing millions of dollars on certain catastrophes. So I try to encourage people who have that background also dive into this space, and hopefully we get more and more. I think meteorologists haven't really been in the insurance industry too long. I would say probably the last 10 years tops, maybe.
Yeah. And that's I heard someone say this the other day and it was find, the thing that everyone hates doing or the thing that no one's really great at and make yourself the best at it at your company. And so that's kind of to your point with meteorology. You can come in from that area and really be the best, asset in that regard in your company and then you become invaluable. So that's a great point.
Yeah, and I mean, also you got to think about the fact, and I already hit on AI, right? But what do you bring to the table that someone can't just plug into an AI engine and just spit out an answer? So what makes you that quote unquote subject matter expert? What is your subject that you are the expert in for the company?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. And thank you so much for joining me today. This is a great conversation, and I really appreciate your points of view on everything.
Yeah, thank you so much.